business cards you share through your cell phone with literally just a few button taps. They don't require app downloads or special software to use either. And they capture the contact information of the person you share them with so you don't have to. That's like getting a free lead tracking system built right in. Savvy cards can be shared online and in person. Because they're digital, you'll never run out, and other people can use them to refer you. But best of all, there are no recurring fees. Get your Savvy card today and stop paying for business cards now. Get them at savvycard.com/radio. That's savvycard.com/radio. savvycard.com/radio.
Hi folks, if you're still paying for electricity every month, it means you haven't signed up for the Inland Empire's #1 money savings program offered by Horizon Solar Power. Just call to qualify your home and Horizon will give you $100 plus pay your electric bill until 2020. It's that simple. Call, qualify, get $100 and no electric bill payments until 2020. So keep your money in your pocket and become energy independent today. Call 844-711-6996. That's 844-711-6996. Or click on one of our Stay Cool ads at KCAAradio.com. Re-elect Riverside County Sheriff Stan Sniff on November 6th because Sheriff Sniff will keep our families safe. Let's keep a proven and experienced leader in this critical office as he continues to modernize our Sheriff's Department by integrating technology tools for his deputies and dramatically improving their training and equipment. Vote for experience, proven leadership, and integrity. Vote to re-elect Riverside County Sheriff Stan Sniff on November 6th. Paid for by Friends of Stan Sniff 2018.
Everyone, this is Reverend Irma Forward, and my companion Jean is back with me this morning. She was a little bit under the weather last week, but she's bright, shiny, and ready to go this morning.
Good morning.
And thank you. It's good to hear you. Good to hear you. And good morning once again to all of you out there in Radio Land. We're excited to be here today. We are wanting to awaken you to your spiritual magnificence so that you are aware that you are the divine emissary of the principle and the spirit that we call God. And we give thanks for that each and every day, for God is in all, through all, is everything that has been created. Nothing more, nothing less, just simply all that there is. And we are grateful and very thankful for that. We're thankful for this opportunity to share our awareness with you this morning. And so we'll be talking just a little bit more about what we've been talking about all month, because this is Labor Day month, and we've been talking about how to rest, so to speak, from your labor, the hard work that we do, the hard work that we actually engage ourselves in at some point in time. And we want to simply know that it's totally unnecessary when we rely totally on spirit. And so we will be focusing on that a little bit more today. And once again, we welcome you to your magnificence, recognizing that you are absolutely a child of the universe and that you are expressing God unconditionally and with love and with joy. And we give thanks for that. So that is the purpose of our program this morning. And I want to let you know a couple of things that will be taking place for the show coming up on the 5th Sunday, which is September the 30th, the last Sunday of this month. Our guest will be Reverend Dr. Don Welsh. And he is actually he's the husband of Reverend Levon, who has been with us on a couple of occasions here. And we're going to have a question and answer theme for that day. And you can call in to the station, and we'll give you the numbers on that day to call in. Call into the station with any questions that you may have about the terminology that we use here on this particular show. So we will look forward to having that experience. Reverend Dr. Don is absolutely well informed about New Thought principles and will be quite an addition to our program on that Sunday. And so we are giving thanks for that once again, and just allowing you to have the opportunity to call in for things that perhaps we say that perhaps is not quite understood or is not quite clear. We want to give you that clarity and that clarification so that you're very, very comfortable with what we're talking about here. Would you say that, Jean?
I would.
Okay. So Jean's going to anchor us in prayer this morning, and we're going to know without a doubt that we are, once again, children of the universe, expressing God in a magnificent and an aware consciousness. Okay, Jean, thank you.
Please join with me this morning as I say these words for all of us, knowing that each and every one of us is a part of the divine intelligence, that we are created in, that we are in part of the divine intelligence, that here and now we know that today, as Reverend Irma guides us through our lesson today, that we are learning the truth of perfection and the absolute magnificence of our divine here and now, that each of us will go away with the absolute wonderful feeling to take throughout the whole week. So for all of this, I say thank you, God, and so it is.
And so it perfectly is. We give thanks for that. And our musical inspiration this morning is by Jamie Lula, and the theme of the song is Something's Calling Me. Something's Calling Me.
Something's calling me. Something's calling me. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Feel like I'm walking on marbles, can't steal the earth beneath my feet. Is my head in the clouds, my naked legs left dangling? I can feel my heart begin to pound, and everybody said something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Long dark night, my soul it wanders, can't see the light that moves me. If God is everything and everywhere that I belong, Spirit gently wakes me from my sleep. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, oh Lord, take me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, oh Lord, pull me deeper than I've ever alongside these blues. Oh Lord, oh Lord, I surrender my life to you. Oh Lord, oh Lord, I give my life, I give my love to you. Oh, love is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Compassion's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. My faith keeps calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Peace is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. God is calling me, and I'm grateful like I've never been before.
Oh, and we thank Jamie Lula for that wonderful song, Something's Calling Me. Sometimes you have this intuitive feeling coming from within that says that you should do something or that something should be different in your life. And that is the something that is calling you to be greater and more expressive, calling you to experience your greater potential in this thing called life. And we're always able to do that when we listen to the quiet whisperings of pure spirit. Today, we're going to continue our study on creating a life without a lot of labor. And we actually have been talking about that for the past 2 or 3 Sundays. And we're trying to create, once again, a life without all the hard labor. And I have said that when we live from certain spiritual principles, when we apply certain spiritual practices, and then we leave the rest to the divine, that life can really work for us. And it can work even in those moments when it doesn't look like it's working in our best behalf. So, Jean, we have collectively defined a life that works as one in which what happens? What happens when life is really working for you?
Well, when we have a life that works, this is what happens. We feel deeply connected to Source.
Okay.
Which means that we're one with God. We have dynamic, vibrant, and radiant health. We are in the flow financially. Capital C, consequences just happen. Okay. I thought that was interesting, capital C. We have loving, solid relationships.
Okay.
We are at peace and are happy. We are joyously sharing our talents and gifts.
Okay.
We love the work we do. We are serving and giving to others. We have care and compassion for others. We are living in the now moment. And we see this, life that works, not only for ourselves, but for all humanity. All humanity everywhere.
Everywhere it works.
Except for my mic.
Your mic is not working this morning.
Well,
But can you hear us? Okay, good.
Okay, because we've got lots of scratchy stuff going on here. So I'm really sorry about that.
Okay, so But we're experiencing what we call a life that works, and we're going to have a capital C coincidence here pretty shortly. So that means when Jean was saying that she found it interesting that we capitalize coincidences with a capital C, that just simply means that it is pure consciousness expressing itself in a most magnificent and wonderful manner. And we also live free of addictions when we're experiencing a life that works for us. And that can be addictions to people and personalities that the people express to themselves. We are experiencing freedom from being unable to do negative stuff, if that makes sense to you. We let that go too. And so we engage ourselves in a very positive attitude towards life. And so when we have this life that works without all the work, then we are living from basic spiritual principles. We are applying certain spiritual practices, and we're leaving the rest up to pure spirit. And so today we're going to bring this basic conversation about our labor to a close by experiencing how we can live from certain spiritual principles, and we're going to be engaging in certain spiritual practices, and both of these lead us to leaving the rest up to God, or the rest up to source, or to the divine, and we're going to let that go. And so the spiritual principle that we want to talk about this morning, and this is something that we all want to anchor ourselves in, is the idea that the universe, meaning God, the universe with a capital U, is so much smarter than you are, Jean.
Obviously.
So much smarter than you are. And the spiritual practice is, well, we'll get there to that in just a minute here. But the spiritual principle first is that the whole universe is a whole lot smarter than we are. And intellectually, I think we get that, because sometimes we find ourselves not experiencing life the way that we want to, but something happens, a capital C coincidence presents itself, and then we simply know that the universe is a whole lot smarter than we are. And so intellectually, we get this. But I love what Ernest Holmes says in the Science of Mind textbook. He says that we comprehend the meaning of infinite intelligence only in a small degree. Now, that is true. But just for this moment, can we expand our view of the meaning of infinite intelligence? And so I want your help. And what does the concept of infinite intelligence mean to you? So, Jean, how would you describe infinite intelligence?
I believe that is the source that's greater than ourselves.
Okay.
That is, I believe that is our God source. That's where everything comes from. Mm-hmm. And with the infinite intelligence, it's what creates everything.
Okay.
It's the creative urge that has all of us, that creates everything that we have. It manifests itself in everything we do and say.
Okay. And does this creative source continue to create, maybe?
Continually.
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 So there's this constant state of evolution that is taking place. Mm-hmm. We can only see as far as our eyes can see on the horizon, but there is so much more out there to experience.
Yes.
And so this creative source allows us to just be comfortable in the knowing that so much more is presenting itself to us. So right now we can see, say out into the universe, we can see as far as the most intelligent telescope will let us see, and then there's so much more out there that is evolving and continuing to evolve. And so this is the idea of infinite intelligence, meaning that it never ends, it's not finite, and we can't really describe it yet. We just simply know that it continues and moves on. Yes, Jean.
It was interesting the other night on the Tim Conway show on the radio. They had a scientist on.
Okay.
And he described, Tim Conway asked, he said, well, how big is the universe? Mm-hmm. And he said the universe is ever expanding.
Yes, yes. So there's this constant growth, this constant evolvement, so to speak, that is taking place. And I think that we can see that in ourselves as we grow from little children into adulthood. And I'm not saying that the universe itself will find itself being finite and stop growing as we as adults do sometimes in the personalities that we have. But the universe will continue to grow, and it is infinite in its scope and in its being. And then Holmes actually had more to say in the Science of Mind textbook. He says that we comprehend the meaning of infinite intelligence only in a small degree. But because we are spiritual beings, we do sense the presence of an intelligence that is beyond human comprehension, an intelligence which is great enough to encompass the past, to understand the present, and to be the father of the future. It is the cause of everything that has been, and is that out of which must unfold everything that is to be. So infinite intelligence has created everything that we are aware of at this particular time, and it is creating everything that is to come. And so we'll just have to sit back and maybe even see what that is, and just be happy in it, be glad in it. And I love this also from the Science of Mind textbook. It says, in the beginning of any creative series, there is absolute intelligence alone, pure spirit, all-inclusive, everywhere, and infinite. Now, there's a story out there in the scientific world, if we want to say it that way, where after many papers and much discussion, the Convention of Scientists commissioned one of them to tell this to God. The scientist gets an audience with God and tells God that she's no longer needed. We're defining God right now as a feminine being, because God is feminine and masculine, creating everything. But since humans knew everything, the scientist was telling God that we didn't need God anymore. And God smiles and says, "Show me." And the scientist bends over to pick up a handful of earth when God interrupts and says, oh no, get your own earth. And in the revealing word, Charles Fillmore writes, the next great proclamation of scientific minds will be that one directive intelligence is an essential cause of the harmonious universe. And spiritually, this is a foundational belief in our teachings. These words of Holmes sums it up beautifully, again, in the Science of Mind textbook. He says, as we look at the many millions of forms of all different shape and color, are we not compelled to accept the fact that intelligence is the ultimate creative agency of the universe? So let's embody that idea and take it deeper into us this morning with this statement. Divine intelligence is the ultimate creative agency of the universe, and it knows more than I do. Now, we may question that, whether the universe knows more than we do, but what we want to understand is that we are thinking with the mind of the universe, because we're created out of the infinite intelligence of the original source of absolutely everything. And so we're thinking in that mindset. And that mind that we're thinking into knows more than we do. We're always learning so much more. And then there's a second piece to this spiritual principle, and it's critically important to our equation of creating a life that works without all the hard work. Even this infinite intelligence knows more than I do. It lives and moves and has its being as me and actually works through me. So think about this for a moment and embody these words. Infinite intelligence lives in me, works through me, and creates as me. Now think about that for a moment. Infinite intelligence lives in me, works through me, and creates as me. If that is the spiritual principle, then what becomes and what is the spiritual practice? And of course, this is a hard one for most of us. The spiritual practice would be to let go of control. Letting go of control of what? Again, I want your help. Let go of control of what? The one thing that we do have control over, what is that? What is that one thing that we actually have control over? Our own consciousness happens to be a combination of things. So let's look at a couple of these things. Our thoughts and spoken words, that's an activity of consciousness. Our feelings are impacted also by the control that we think that we have. And then we want to shape our attitudes and beliefs and values, which in turn informs our actions and reactions to everything that there is. Now, Jean, do you remember the movie The Robe, or have you seen it on TV?
I've seen it on TV.
Okay. And do you know the story of how the seamless robe was woven in that movie?
No, I didn't know that story. So this was a wonderful little bit of tidbit.
Okay.
That was a movie with Richard Burton and Gene Simmons. Mm-hmm. And the story tells about a Roman military tribune who commanded the unit that crucified Jesus. Mm-hmm. And the movie was nominated for a lot of Academy Awards and all sorts of greatness. But the interesting story was that the real robes that Jesus wore and those that were that the people wore in Judea was that the robes were seamless, so there were no seams.
Okay.
So the movie wanted to create the same thing. So they hired a weaver, and she and her daughter wove the robe for Richard Burton to, or who played Jesus in that movie.
I don't recall.
Okay.
Okay.
For the movie, they did the same thing because they felt it was, and the weaver took this on as a true spiritual practice. That this was sacred to her to have this happen.
Okay.
So she and her daughter wove the robe in one piece, no seams, and it took 36 hours.
Okay.
So they were just beside themselves. They thought this was absolutely great. Everything was working great until disaster struck. And that is when she saw her grandson with a pair of scissors and a piece of white cloth in his other hand. He had damaged the robe that they had woven. They were out of time. They knew it was going to be a problem. And the only thing they could do was sit down and weave that robe again. Okay. This time it only took 9 hours.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That is. And it took 36 before.
And it took 36 before, and it only took them 9 hours this time.
Oh, wow.
So, they're talking about it, and they're thinking, oh, this is really strange, Now, you would think that they get better with practice. So they decided that they would sit down and do it again.
Okay.
Just so they could find out, because they figured they'd improve their time. 36 hours to 9 hours. Well, guess what happened? It took them 36 hours to make the third robe.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness.
So, that is pretty amazing. And, what that tells us is that in the moments where we have no choice, we have to let go.
We do.
We have to let it go and let God handle it.
Okay.
And that's what happened the second time.
Okay. So, in essence, they had released this whole idea, just sit down and do it, so to speak. And as they were sitting down to do it, they were imbued with some kind of supernatural energy or whatever it took to complete the robe in the time frame that was required. And they were able to do it that quickly.
Yes.
How wonderful. How wonderful. So this is a powerful example of creation itself rather than control. Now, we have a minister in our teaching, Reverend Diane Harmony, and she has written a book called The 5 Gifts for an Abundant Life. And she wrote that when we let go and let God, we are in the midst of a spiritual practice so powerful that the core beliefs that have held us captive, causing us to play small, can be dismantled. Resistance to our good can melt away. Fear of the unknown can be shattered. A sense of oneness with God and all life can be embodied. And a whole new world of infinite possibilities can open up for us. That is a very powerful statement. There is a song that is sung in many New Thought circles. It's called I Release and Let Go, written by Ricky Byers Beckwith. And it is a very powerful song because the beginning of the song itself says, there was a time in my life when I thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was just simply there to support you. And as the grace of God is there to support you, what is it that you need to do? It becomes then a matter of release and let go. And those are some very powerful words in and of themselves, release and let go, because that is what we do at the closing of our affirmative prayer. Because we state our claims, make our claims on the universe, and then we have to let it go. We can't go back and keep stirring the pot to see what's going on there. We can't do that. We have to just let it go and let the divine circuits do the work that we're asking it to do without giving it instructions on how to do it, where to do it, and when to do it. So we just have to really release and let go. And in the process of releasing and in the process of letting go, then the work is done in a most magnificent manner. The work is done in ways that we can't even expect, or that we would not have even expected it to take place. So we do release, we let go, we let Spirit do the work, and the work is done in a most magnificent way. This is a really powerful statement in and of itself. And it says here, as I let go and let God do the work, a whole new world of infinite possibilities opens up for me. That's a very powerful experience, Jean. When we realize that we can let go and let God do the work. Have we had that kind of experience? Have you had that kind of experience recently? Where you have to let go and let God do the work?
Yes.
And you have to move your, as some people would say, Emerson says, we have to move our bloated nothingness out of the way. Yes, we do. And when we do that, things take place, the coincidences happen to set things in motion for our highest and best good. Do you have an experience there that you wanted to share with us? Or no?
Yesterday was a trial.
Oh.
Total a trial.
Uh-huh.
And it finally got to the point where I did just have to let it go. I tried to control everything so much.
Uh-huh.
And there was no way that was going to happen. Although it wasn't going my way, I finally just said, I can't deal with it. I just have to let it go. And luckily, it worked out okay.
Okay.
So that was a good thing.
Okay. And you let it go, and once you let it go, there's a sense of relief when you are able to let things go. You just say, oh, well.
Exactly.
Oh, well, it is what it is. And once you make that statement, sometimes it is what it is, then it becomes so much more blessed, so much greater than you had anticipated that it could become, as we just simply let go and let the divine circuits handle it, so to speak. And as we allow these things to reveal themselves in the form of that perfect release that we want to go through, then the synchronicity takes place and everything just kind of falls into place in perfect harmony and perfect order, perfect right order. And we allow this to be the truth. So we want to continue to rely on the spiritual principle that there is an intelligence in the universe that is infinitely greater than ours, and that we are immersed in and one with it, and it is ready to create through us, as us, and for us. And so the idea is that this intelligence in the universe is just smarter. It's just smarter than we are. And we are always grasping for that intelligence because as we open ourselves up, to pure consciousness. And so let us think about this phrase once again, that infinite intelligence lives in me, works through me, and creates as me. Isn't that very powerful? It's a powerful statement. And when we just kind of release and understand that this is absolutely working in our best behalf, then we become so much more relaxed. We don't feel that we're working. The work just simply happens. And, it's done. And then we realize, oh my goodness, we're done with that. And it's because we have released it, we have let it go, and allow Spirit to do its perfect work in and through us. And then we can engage in this spiritual practice of the let go, so to speak, knowing that we are safe, knowing that we are loved, protected, and provided for. Now think about this, and you might want to say this to yourself. As I let go and let God. Think about that. As I let go and let God, a whole new world of infinite possibilities open up for me. A whole new world of infinite possibilities open up for me. As I let go and let God, a whole new world of infinite possibilities open up for me. And then this whole thing sounds a lot like leaving the rest to, and in other words, trusting God. That's a very wonderful experience when we know that we can trust God. God never fails. The Spirit never fails to provide all of our needs according to our belief and our understanding. But again, it gets back to what we believe that we are worthy to receive. So when we do this, when we trust God, trust the universe for absolutely everything, we are creating a life for ourselves, a wonderful life for ourselves. And in this life, we find ourselves deeply connected to Source, deeply connected to the principle that we call God. We have dynamic, vibrant, and radiant health. We are in the flow financially, and we talked about earlier on in our program this morning, we talked about being in the flow financially, and we talked about snacks. So the snack idea means that we can have some of the things that we would like to have. We have those snacks that come along with being financially secure. And then the capital C coincidences just simply happen. They happen because we are. And we are synchronistic beings, and we are attracted to like-minded individuals or to those individuals that can support us on our spiritual journey. These are the people that we are connected to, that we have coincidences with, and that we are synchronistic with, and that we have loving, solid relationships. And we are free from addictions. In other words, we are free from substance abuse. We are free from anything that would cause us to not experience our greater and our highest good. And then we joyously share our talents and our gifts. And these talents and gifts can often lead to work that is wonderful, that is fulfilling for us, and that we actually like. So many of us go to work because it's a matter of making a living to support ourselves and our families. However, every now and then our talents and gifts can actually turn into work. And when I think in terms of musicians and artists, they're talented people. And they take those talents and those gifts and turn them into passionate work that they really enjoy. I think about our entertainers out there in the world right now, and they're sharing their gift and their love of music, their love of the spoken word, even for actors and actresses. All of this means just simply that we are sharing our talents and gifts and are doing it in a very loving manner, and this becomes very easy for us. And then we serve and give to others. And Jean, what about care and compassion? What about that? When we have care and compassion for others, how does that work out for us?
It improves our lives because whatever we give out, whatever we send out there, is multiplied and sent back to us.
Yes, it is. Absolutely it is. And then we live in the now moment without all the hard labor that we think that we have to indulge in order to get things done. I've heard people say many, many times, you got to work hard to get through life. And my position at this point in my life is that work smart and rely on principle to guide you to your greater yet to be, to your highest and best potential. So I invite you to, I'm not sure that you can say this with me if you're out there driving in the freeways or whatever, but if you're home and if you're listening to this later, say with me, infinite intelligence lives in me. Infinite intelligence lives in me, works through me, and creates as me. Once again, infinite intelligence lives in me, works through me, and creates as me. And so it is. And so it perfectly is.
And so it is.
And so it is. And so I'm really excited that Jean is back to participate in our prayer work, and we have talked a little bit about affirmative prayer in our talk this morning, but Jean, just give us a very brief description of affirmative prayer, and then we have a couple of requests that we want to put out into the universe this morning.
For affirmative prayer, Ernest Holmes describes it as scientific mind treatment because it is a scientific process. You do the same steps over and over so you get the same results. That basically we believe that prayers are answered, or as we say, that there's a demonstration. So in religious science terms, it is a treatment and a demonstration.
Okay, wonderful. And so we have some names that we want to, again, as we say, put out into the universe. And meaning that we send them out there for Spirit to do the work, because we're releasing them into the universe. And again, our work as a minister and as a professional practitioner, we indulge in affirmative prayer for everyone that requests it, but then we have to release it and let it go and allow Spirit to do the work. So who are the names that we have here this morning once again?
This morning, we're going to speak our word for Pam. We know that she releases any thoughts or mental attitudes causing her disease to continue, that she is surrounded by God's love and light and good health. And for Jared, we know that he will do what's necessary to live a full, happy, healthy life. And for Ernestine, that God protects and loves her. And for John, so he can release anger and bitterness and fill his life with love. And for Joanne,
We're going to allow Joanne to experience herself as being whole, perfect, and complete at this particular time. Just simply knowing that what appears to be dementia is exiting her life, and she becomes fully aware of who and what she is in the grand scheme of things. For who she is a child of the universe, and what she is simply is God expressing.
And we speak our word for Sandra. That Sandra, we give thanks that she has good health and that she has improved and that she is fully recovering at this time. Mm-hmm. And for all the hurricane victims from Hurricane Florence, for all the first responders, we know that God protects and helps them, that they will be safe, that everything that they need at this time is provided for them. And we hold them dear in our hearts, knowing what they're going through. And for all of this and more, we say thank you, God. Mm-hmm. And we release our words knowing that what we have said is now done and complete. Mm-hmm. And so it is. Amen.
And so it perfectly is. And our musical inspiration at this point is I Walk Away by Eddie Watkins Jr.
Every morning the light keeps getting brighter as I wake up to the truth. And every day I'm feeling so much lighter, and the world seems fresh and new. What I was taught and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Each day I start anew, and so I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Every morning brings a new beginning. By grace another day to be. I awaken to the sun upon me shining, lighting the way for me to see. Oh, things that I sought and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Of yesterday I'm letting go. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the less than that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away.
Okay, so again, the song reminds us that we have to walk away from those things that no longer serve us. And we want to be able to walk into a new life as we release the old things, letting them go, and allowing Spirit to do its perfect work in and through each one of us. For each and every day, we allow Spirit to do that work, and we are grateful for that. And then before our closing prayer, Jean, would you remind us of how to contact us on our Facebook page for prayer requests?
Please come to visit our Facebook page. It is Wake Up Awareness. And please send us your prayer requests, because we will keep you in prayer for 30 days. And we have others who are also praying our prayer list also. So please contact us with comments, prayer requests, and also like us, because we have some interesting things that get posted there. And it's reminding us every day of the magnificence of our divine.
The magnificence of who and what we are. And once again, let me remind you that we are absolutely children of the universe. And what we are, simply put, is God expressing itself in a most magnificent manner in us, through us, as each one of us. I invite you to join us in prayer right now. Every day, from dawn to evening tide, God is. There is simply one mind. It is the mind of God. It is perfect, and it is the mind that I use now. It is the mind that each one of us uses each and every day, allowing us to be more of what we are thinking that we are capable of becoming. We are so much more, and we just simply relax and allow this Spirit to flow in and through us, creating for us wonderful ideas, creating for us this idea of financial prosperity and abundance, creating for each one of us this idea of the perfect relationships that support us on our spiritual journey in this thing called life. We are absolutely grateful for all of that, grateful for the opportunity to do the so-called work that we love to do and that we're capable of doing, and doing the work that we are passionate about. We allow the Spirit of the living God to move in and through us, allowing us to become the greater yet to be that we are capable of becoming, that we live in our perfect potential and express that potential as an idea that comes from the Spirit of the living God, imbues itself in us and through us. We are those radiant beings expressing in this process of this thing called life. And for this we give thanks, knowing that we are so much more than we appear to be, and we embrace the invisible, knowing that it does take form. It is who and what we are. So we give thanks for that. We are thankful for the opportunity to share our wisdom. We are grateful for this great nation in which we reside, knowing that our spiritual ideas are flowing in and through our politics of this nation, knowing that our leaders lean not to their own understanding, but listens to the whispers of pure spirit. We give thanks for this. We allow it to be our truth this day, forevermore, and so it perfectly is. Amen.
And
Amen.
so it is.
Yes.
Have a great week, everybody.
Indeed.
And like us on Facebook, Wake Up Awareness.
There we go. Thank you.